Hello friends, my name's James. And this is my 1965 Alberg 30 sloop SV Tritea. I have been slowly sailing solo around the world since leaving Los Angeles in 2021. This is Rhonda, a Kiwi sailor who joined me full-time once I reached Sydney. Join us while we explore Indonesia, see the struggles and the magic that come with sailing in Southeast Asia. From the Spice Islands, to the stilt villages, to Komodo, and beyond. This is Indonesia. Good morning from Banda. It's time for us to depart the Spice Islands and sail on. We have a 400 nautical mile passage ahead of us today. Should take us like 4 days roughly. We should have good wind. We're sailing to Wakatobi, which is a big national park that consists of like 4 different islands. We had originally planned on sailing to Ambon, which is also part of the Spice Islands, Malacca area. Has rich history, the Portuguese and everything, but there's like a huge sort of like, I don't know, pocket of calm that sits over that whole region this time of year. So there's just no wind, and I don't want us to sail there for a few days and then be stuck motoring for like 2 days to get out of that hollow pocket of wind. So pretty late in the season already anyway, so we're just gonna go ahead and push on to Wakatobi, which was the next stop after Ambon. So we should have really nice winds, 10 to 12 knots beam reach for the next at least 3 days, and then it looks like it's gonna get light, so we might be motoring that last day. But we have plenty of diesel and ready to sail. It's been amazing to come here. I wanted to come here for quite a while after reading a book about the Spice Islands. So to finally get to like be here for, you know, a week and experience everything we experienced here, it's been really wonderful. And one of the reasons that I cruise the world by sail is for this, to get to go to places, to like try to, you know, feel the history of a place and just see these kind of surroundings. I mean, look at this. This is crazy. So it's time to get the shorelines untied and let's make way.
The natives are gaining on us. The natives are gaining on us.
We are motoring on a very glassy sea. There's supposed to be like 10 to 12 knots out here right now. But Indonesia's known for very, very, very light winds, if any at all. I want to show you guys one of the scourge of cruising in Indonesia. These fads, which are fish aggregating devices. They're not as bad in the daytime, obviously, because you can see them. But at night, many of them are unlit or just have a weird little LED light, if they have anything at all. And it's very easy to hit them, which is one of the reasons people don't cruise much, or you try to not arrive to islands in the dark, because you can hit these fads Some of them are as small as a kayak. Some are as large as like a small little cabin. This one's like just a bit bigger than like a shipping pallet. And has a little structure that looks like a garbage can on it. But we've seen them anchored in water as deep as 2,000 feet, and we've read that you can come across them in water as deep as 5,000 feet. So here's one of them now. That is the island of Run, which has very interesting history. I'm gonna read it off my phone so I don't get the dates and numbers mixed up. But in 1616, the English landed on this island. The Dutch already controlled the rest of the Spice Islands. And in theory, the Dutch thought they controlled this island as well. The English landed sneakily and made a pact with the local people of Run. The local people of Run were terrified of the Dutch because they had already committed atrocities on Banda, slaughtering all the people. So the English vowed to protect them in exchange for trading for nutmeg and mace. That lasted until the Dutch found out. They laid siege, took it back from the English, who fled, and then all the people of the island, all the males of the island were slaughtered, the women were displaced, and the Dutch cut down every nutmeg tree on the island because they wanted to maintain their monopoly. And then they just put cattle on the island so that the cattle for feeding everyone on the other islands. This is from Wikipedia. According to the Treaty of Westminster ending the First Anglo-Dutch War 1652 to 1654, Run should be returned to England. After the Second Anglo-Dutch War 1665 to 1667, England and the United Provinces Netherlands agreed to the Treaty of Breda, where the English agreed to trade the island of Run for a small island in the New World called Manhattan. This is called the Manhattan Transfer. So this little bitty island was traded for Manhattan in New York City, what we know as today as New York City. So fascinating bit of history. I spent a lot of time in Manhattan, so it's interesting for me to see this island and think about the significance of the two islands on, you know, historically now. Pretty wild. Hello from Ambon. Jeffrey's Fish Farm and Market and Restaurant. We did not intend to come here. When we originally thought about coming to Ambon, we were going to stay here at Jeffrey's, and I'd already been in touch with him. But then we decided to skip Ambon and just sail straight to Wakatobi. The day before we left Banda, we were scurrying around trying to get everything ready. We had to get, I think, 8 5-gallon jugs of water delivered to the hotel in Banda, and we were trying to get diesel fuel as well from a petrol station that was like right down the street. So that afternoon, Rhonda organized getting the water delivered through the hotel that we were tied up in front of, and then I transferred a 5-gallon jug of diesel into the tank, and then we went off to try to find the fuel station. We ended up not being able to get fuel there because it was closed every time we went. Got back next day, we get these 5-gallon jugs from the hotel, and they show up, they just had these loose caps on them. So I was suspect that they had just filled them up from like the tap water, which is what we don't want to drink, and just popped on some, like, because the water would just pour out if you turn them upside down. So it was just kind of like, it didn't feel very legit, and it was cheaper than what we had paid previously. So we're like, So I was like, okay, let's throw a cap full of bleach into each one just to be safe. So we threw a cap full of bleach into each of the jugs, and then I transferred them all into the tank, into our main water tank, filled it up. That evening, the water tasted like, kind of like pool water, like I thought you could taste the bleach. It tasted like chlorine. It tasted like, oh, it was like, I couldn't believe how little of bleach affected like that much water. I was like, that is crazy. So the next day when we were finalizing everything to get out, I was like, let's go pick up some like couple of gallon jugs. I think they're like 2-gallon jugs for drinking water, and we'll let this bleach taste in the water settle down. So we did that, went and got that. And we had all our jerry cans full from the water from the hotel. We leave, we sail. Every time you like go to try to drink the water or anything, it tasted terrible. Terrible. I was putting lemon in my water to mask the flavor. And then we get to, so we're sailing, afternoon winds come up, pretty bucky seas, we have some good sailing, comfortable, but a lot of motion on the boat. 9 o'clock, watch alarm goes off, I get up, I'm thirsty, I pump up a bunch of water into my cup from the sink, I drink it, diesel. It tasted like a mouthful of diesel, and I realized I'd accidentally siphoned 5 gallons into our water tank instead of into our fuel tank. Now I've almost done that, I think 3 times. I've come close and been like, and caught myself, but I was so distracted that day, I didn't catch myself. And the funny thing is, since water is heavier than diesel, the diesel that I put in just sat on top of our water, and we couldn't detect it because the pickup hose is at the bottom of like 30 gallons of water. And the only way, as soon as I tasted it, I came out and checked the fuel tank and noticed that it was 5 gallons shy of what it should be. And that's when I knew for sure that it was diesel. So then I was like, told Rhonda, I was like, don't drink any of the water. Obviously we're gonna have to flush the whole thing. So we sailed through the night, and then the next morning, right at sunrise, we were right below Ambon, 61 miles below Ambon. And I asked Rhonda, I was like, do you think we should just run up instead of spending another 3 days with like diesel in our water tank and not, you know, we had enough water with the jerry cans and stuff, but I was like, what do you think? And she's like, yeah, that's probably a good idea, because then we can get everything sussed out. And we're only 60 miles south of that location. So that's what we did. We came about and we pointed up and arrived here at Ambon late at night, at like 11 p.m. in the pouring rain. Some nice other cruisers helped us tie up and get settled, and Jeffrey was there as well. Got the boat settled in the rain, and we went to sleep. Yesterday, we popped open the tanks, all the access ports. Now I built the whole water tank. It's an integral water tank that's built into the bilge. I built it all with Max CLR, which is like the only potable water resin that you can do. And when I built it, I put 3 big access ports in it so that you could easily get in and clean it, reach every spot to hand wipe out. You could put your hand on every surface of the tank if you ever need to clean it. Now I haven't opened that tank since I left LA. And the plan was to clean it out in Malaysia anyway in a couple months, so we're just a couple months ahead of schedule. We pop open the tank and you could clearly see the majority of the diesel sitting on top of the water. So we got this submersible pump that I bought for our fuel polishing system, put it in there. We drained off the top, all the diesel that you could see, this defined layer, into one of our diesel jerry cans, and then taped it off so we know that that's like contaminated diesel. And then we had to flush out the rest of the tank, drained out the rest of the tank. And then we opened all the access ports, got tons of paper towels, and there was like a light film on the forward one, and everything reeked of diesel. But we wiped everything out by hand with paper towels, and then after each everything was wiped out by paper towels, then we took vinegar and soaked it on paper towels and wiped all the surfaces with vinegar, and we just kept doing that until there was like, you couldn't feel any kind of slipperiness. I was shocked at actually how clean the tanks were for not being cleaned out for 3 years. They looked great. There was no sediment in the bottom. There wasn't any kind of mold or anything. They looked fantastic. I've seen photos of like people opening their tanks and it like being a real nightmare. So I was impressed at how good that looked after that long. So we wiped everything out, got it all cleaned, and then we left the caps off last night to let it air out because you could still smell slight diesel. And then this morning, got up, put the caps on, filled up the tanks with the fresh water. We ordered 40 gallons of water, so 8 5-gallon things, which Jeffrey arranged and brought over in a boat. Thank you, Jeffrey, so much. So we filled that up this morning, crossed our fingers, and pumped it out, and here's what we got. All right, moment of truth. First pumps, I have to expect it to have a tinge of diesel for a while, but we'll see.
Pretty good?
Zero taste. Zero. We did it. So yeah, I know I'm not the first person to put diesel in a water tank. This will definitely be the last time I ever make that mistake on this boat. Hard lesson learned, but it worked out in the end, and we got our tanks totally clean now, and they look good. And now it's time to go. We did a big shop yesterday. Went to a really good market here. Stocked up on a ton of stuff, and now we're getting ready to use what little wind we have to try to make way to Wakatobi today. It's a 280-mile passage, and should take us about 2.5 to 3 days. So that was our adventure at Ambon. If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to contribute, you can consider joining the Patreon crew. Thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.